Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to make a wreath. This is a 13.8, so 14-inch wreath. You're going to need a knife because we're going to be cutting this edge. To open it up, I'm going to be using this stuff, that's the stuff I cannot crochet with. It's a soft and shiny from Loops and Threads. One of them is Midnight Owl Gray, and the other one I don't have the tag for, so I don't know what the color is, but it's the same make. It's very difficult to crochet with, so I thought I would use it to make my wreath. So I need to do 350 rows, but I'm gonna do 175 each color because I'm using 2 colors. So we just need to load the machine. So start around your white peg in the front, go behind the next one and in front of the next one and behind and front all the way around. So this is in your instructions. For your machine. So if you come back around and you're behind this one before the white peg, you're in the right position. So I'm going to go into medium tension, but depending on the yarn that you're using, you choose your own tension. So I'm going to do 175 rows of gray, and then I'm going to do 175 rows of this color. But the first row I do, I'm not going to count because it only goes on every other hook. So now that I've come back around to my white peg, I'm going to reset my marker and I'm going to do 175 rows. Now I've already started and I feel like my tension should be tighter. So I'm going to go into the top to make that tension nice and tight. So I need to add more gray, so I thought I would show you. I just take that out and I drop it down. Just in case you weren't aware, I grab more gray. Very staticky. So I'm going to put it into my carriage and into my tight spot so this needle will pick it up. So I'm going to drop it down the same spot that the other stuff's in there. So this needle will grab the old stuff, this needle will grab the new stuff. So after it grabs it, I just like to tie it in a knot. Some people would tie it in a knot and then deal with it after. I'm just going to tie it in a double knot now because the static makes it so difficult that I don't want to be messing around. So I'm just going to tie that double knot now. So I am just about at 175. There's my white. So I change my color. Let me get my scissors. So I just want to cut this off a little bit. Change my color. So you do this the exact same way that you do what I just showed you. So I'm just going to drop that down the best I can with all the static. So just drop that down. That's just a downy sheet. I'm going to stick this in, so I'm going to put it on tight tension. So this last one will get caught by this, and this new strand will get caught by this, but they're both drop down in the same space. So I'm just going to hold it, and I'm going to turn till my hooks catch it, and then I'm going to tie a double knot. Now again, some people like to wait until this is off the machine. Not me, I just like it done and over with. But I'm also used to how much tension I gotta put on it, so so now I'm gonna do 175 rows of the new color. So I'm gonna reset my counter because my counter seems to break after it gets above 225. I don't know why. I've gone to 266 before it broke, but I've never gone to 350. So you don't have to reset your counter. We're going to 350 regardless. But my counter will stop counting, and then I don't pay attention, and I don't know where I am. So just making sure all my knots are out. I'm gonna pull my yarn out a little bit. It's always good to start with your yarn pulled out. So I'm not going to use my adapter to do the first couple of rounds. I'm just going to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. This loops and threads yarn, the shiny stuff, it works really good in the machine. But if you do happen to have stack stitches or drop stitches, keep in mind when it goes on the wreath, it's going to be all bunchy, and you can potentially hide the flaws. So this takes a lot of yarn. It'll take probably about 24-25 ounces of yarn. So like I said before, if you have any imperfections, don't worry about it. It'll get all hidden in your fluff. So you're going to fluff this right up. So I'm going to take that out and I'm going to drop it down. I'm not adding color, I'm just adding another cake, but it's the same process. So I'm going to, same space I just took it out of, I'm going to put it back in. So that is my 350 rows. I've already cut and threaded my needle, so you just need it long enough to fit around the machine, just so you can plunk them all off. So again, I'm just going to turn the machine, exposing for now one at a time. And I'm going to pull this way because I don't want to accidentally take the next one off. So I'm just going to take one at a time off until I have the room to do multiples. It's just safer than dropping stitches. This stuff is so staticky, but it worked great in my machine. This is my third wreath that I've tried to make a video with. None of the yarns were working in my machine for some reason, and Lion Brand was one of them, which was odd because Lion Brand works really well. So I'm going to start exposing more stitches, and I'm now going to start doing 2 at a time, and I'm still going to pull this way because I don't want to plunk any of these other ones off. I hate when I lose a stitch. I get pretty cranky. This stuff is so ridiculously slippery that it's just so difficult to work with, apparently, even when you're using a knitting machine. There's no way that should have slipped right off of there. So I'm just going to turn and pick then, if that's the case. It's only making that noise because I'm going slow. Your machines aren't broken. I've actually watched videos of people reviewing their machines, turning it and doing that, and them going, oh, the machine's broken, the machine's a piece. No, it's not. The machine's meant to go fast. So when you go slow like this, it binds a bit, but it doesn't mean your machine's broken. It means it's going too slow, basically. I was hurting my back. I had to sit down. So that's all of them, and I'll meet you at the craft table. So we have to unravel this. This yarn is heavy too. This loops and threads. So I don't know how well it's going to bunch up like it's supposed to, but so we are on the inside. Let me get rid of this. I'm going to lose my needle if I don't move it now. So we're on the inside. This is where you can do all your tying. Like here I made my double knot here for where I joined my grays. I'm just going to snip that off because I already tied it. Oh my gosh, this stuff is heavy. It just wants to pull off the table. And then here's another one here. Seriously. That I tied. That is not tied well because this stuff doesn't tie well. It's just so slippery. So I'm leaving nubbies. You should anyway. And then this one here where I had to join my colors, or well, yeah, add another cake. So once you're done everything, this is the purl side, so you just want to flip it all around to the knitted side. Like that. Make sure you know where your cinch strings are. You can actually pull this a little bit because we're going to put this around the wreath. We've got to cut the wreath first though. So I just don't want to lose my string, so I'm just going to close it a little bit. We need to cut right here where your seam is. We need to cut that. So I had a knife. So get yourself a bread knife. I had to reposition a little bit. I have a bread knife. So I'm going to cut on this seam. Actually, you don't even have to really cut. You just need to push. Push and rock until you cut through. I'm going to take my sticker off. I don't want the sticker on there. So now what you do, if I'm on camera, my camera is raised as high as I can manage. My table's certainly not big enough. So because this is the end that's all screwed up, and I'm trying not to lose all of that, put your arm into it. Gather it all up till you pop out the other end. And then you're going to put it on your wreath. It's not easy to do. You really got to pull. And keep this apart all at the same time. So get it all on. It doesn't matter if it's straight or cockeyed or anything else, because we're gonna do that to it anyway. So get it all on your wreath. That goes over there. This goes over here. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I got this and I got this. Okay, let me angle this a bit better. I cannot see what you're looking at, so hopefully I'm on camera. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna cinch this end. So cinch the end closed. You know, like you're making a hat. You don't have to put a double cinch in because we're going to be tying these two ends together. So now we're going to cinch this side. So keep in mind we're putting a bow on this. So you can choose to put the bow here if you wanted to. So after I make a series of knots, I'm going to go down in between that space. And back up around. Sorry, I have no room. That's a big wreath. I have a little one somewhere. So you can do that as many times as you want. I'm just going to leave that attached for now. So I'm going to reposition my camera so I can show you what to do next. Alright, so you can do this just by using cut pieces of yarn. So So I'm just going to cut some pieces. And you just got to decide. Turn you a little bit. So you just have to decide. So this is going to be my top. I'm just going to, oh, I'm stuck on something. I'm just going to put my bow up here. So as far as the rest of this goes, we're just going to tie a series of pieces in multiple knots. So this is all going to get fluffed up and no one's going to see it. But you're just going to take your yarn and tie a series of tight little knots. Because you're ultimately just trying to hold it in place. So then you pull and you fluff up. So I have a tie there and I have a tie here. And you pull and fluff in between. And the same with my blue, but then I can still slide it down. So I'm going to go around and add more ties before we do our bow. So these ties won't be noticeable once you fluff it up. So don't worry about that. So the bows can be made on the 22 pin. This is just a little Sentro. You can obviously just do the one color. I'm gonna do my straps from I got it all held down by these ratchet straps, and I've got these straps to get in the way. So if you're doing just one color, then it's I'm gonna do 120 rows. I wanted to mention this is not my design. Most of the stuff I do is my design. Other than the hats, everybody's doing them. But my caterpillar and my owl and stuff they're all mine. This, however, sorry, just about knocked you over. This, however, is not my design. This is Angie and Brit's. That's Angie and Brit. I think that's the name of their channel. So that's where I got the idea from. But they did the video I watched was a 9.5 wreath, and mine is a 13.8 wreath, or a 9.8, so almost a 10-inch wreath. And I'm doing a different wreath, but I'm doing also 2 colors, so I'm doing mine a bit different. But their bow, for the bow, she said 180 rows if you want a long one, and I think 100 rows if you wanted a short bow. But because this is a 14-inch wreath, I'm going to do a long bow, and it's just going to be a tube that we cinch both ends. So you don't need any waste yarn. We don't need a tail or anything. We just need to start. So we're going to start with the black hook. If you have, I don't know what you're using. If you have an Addy Professional, you might have 3 black hooks. So pick one. I don't know how that one works, but so we're going to go behind and front, behind and front, behind and front. So this one's a little harder to load because of these stupid things that are sticking up. I don't even know what the point of them are other than to get in your way. So when you come back around, you should be behind that needle there. I'm going to put mine in the tightest tension hopefully it works okay with my Sentro. So I am going to do 60 rows of this because I'm doing the 2 colors. So I'm going to do the 60 rows of this, the blue that I used for my wreath. And then I'm going to do 60 rows of the gray that I used. So I have to count because this has no counter. So this is the only pain in the butt about these little ones. They have no counter. It's 59. So this will be my 60. So I'm going to switch colors. So I'm just going to snip that off. Do the exact same thing. I'm going to pull it out. Oh, that was just my screwdriver. I'm going to pull it out and put it down. I'm going to get my gray. Oh my gosh, the static. I'm going to put it down in the same spot. So once it catches, I'm going to tie my double knot. Stick everything in the middle if you can with the static. Oh my gosh. Try using metal if it doesn't work well. And then I'm going to now do 60 rows of the gray. That's 40. I just want to make sure I pull up on all of this because I seem to have lost. I'm just going to pull it through the bottom. This one's a little more difficult than my other one. It comes out the front here. I'm not used to that. Well, 60. So we take it off the same way that we take... Oh, I was going to say I lost my scissors, but they're... And that was my thingy again. Okie dokie. So I just need to cut some so we can take it off. Pull that out. Thread your needle. I gotta stand up for this because this machine has these 2 things right here and they get in the way for a lot of things. So I'm gonna turn, exposing my drop stitches, and for starters, like I did before, I'm just gonna take off one at a time. There. I will meet you at the craft table. Okay, first things first, we need to, this is our purl side. We need to just take care of whatever business you got going on. So if you've done 2 colors or you had to add more color, you need to get this all prepared. So now we can turn it back right side in, stretch your work out and all that fancy jazz that we normally have to do with our tubes. So this is going to be a long bow because it's a big wreath. It's a 14-inch, so mine is fairly long, but all you're going to do is cinch both ends. So easy peasy. So once you've got your cinch, I just need to secure it, especially this stuff. I'm going to double cinch mine for a couple of reasons. Number one, always do. Aesthetically it looks better, even though we're not even going to see this. I'm actually going to make these a little bit pointed later. I just find it gives a better hold if you double cinch it. Especially if you're using the same crap I am that's really slippery. So knots and everything else, they don't stay knotted. So pull it back and forth so it tightens that right down. And do your other side. You're going to fold these, so you're going to make this even. Okay, once you've scooched, I'm having a problem with my camera's overheating because I'm taking too long to do a video. So the camera overheats and then I have nothing but problems. So I've scooched down with my gray right near the center, you know, like right near where the center is going to be. I'm going to gather up all my edges like this, and I'm going to sew. So leave all that. So I'm going to sew this just back and forth, making sure you get down through all 4 layers. I'm just going to leave that hanging. I'm going to do the blue side. So I've already scooched my yarn down. Saves time when my stupid thing keeps overheating. I'm probably actually not in a very good position. I need to be more on the side. There we go. We'll just move that. So do the same thing. Gather your sides. Put all your sides together. Oh, it's a little harder once the other side is sewn. And then you're going to do the same thing. You're going to sew all of these in place. Pull that tight. So just make sure you're getting through all of the pieces. So all of this is left to be the bow part. So once we're done and satisfied, man, I suck at sewing. I'm gonna come back down and through, kind of over near my other piece of yarn. So now we just pull and cinch that part. Becomes your bow, just like that. So then you can tie these two. I'm gonna have to sew my bow on a little bit differently because it's very floppy. This this yarn is so horrible. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm getting the right shape I want in my bow before I do it all up. So the whole thing I wanted to do is do the bow in like the opposite colors of my wreath. like the opposite sides. Do you know what I mean? So initially I wanted this to be the opposite, but I decided I was going to put my thing up here where the split is. And now I'm second guessing because I wanted it to be like this. But the bow, actually, let's just put the bow on the bottom then. Because then I can have opposite colors. Oh, not that you can see anything. So my split's here. I think I'm going to put the bow on the bottom. That way it's opposite colors. So it's noticeable. So I'm just going to take my yarn that I already had attached from my cinch, and I'm going to use that to sew the bow to the thing. So that's my wreath. Now I just need to tie a hanger around the top of it. So figure out where your top is so it hangs properly. I would say that's pretty close to being the top, not that you can see me. I'm just going to tie some knots once again, going around so I'm on actually where I already had a tie from fluffiness. Sorry, I'm trying to get into the camera frame, but it's so difficult. And then I'm just going to tie the top in a knot, so that leaves this open here. So it all depending on how long you want that open. I'm going to cut a little bit off, but I am going to leave a nubby at the end of that so that it doesn't work its way open. And I'm also going to put a little bit of glue on it. So that's going to just dry hanging on my door. And those fibers shouldn't try to work their way open with the weight. This isn't heavy. I mean, this yarn's heavy, but if you're using just regular yarn, it's not going to be heavy. So you just gotta, where's my tie? Make sure it's hanging in the right spot. Fluff everything back up, but you can adjust it once it's on your door. You can make the adjustment. And I will end my video. I'll end my video there. There we go, all done. Sorry, there's a truck working on the road working on the road down the road. Anyway, there we have it. Thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.